Hi viewers, welcome to Beginners Tech Road. In this video, I will explain about methods. We know methods are the members of the class. So, a method is a code block that contains a series of statements. Okay, so we can write in a program number of statements. So the method is nothing but a collection of all that multiple statements. So we can write multiple statements in a block. Okay. A program causes the statements to be executed by calling the method and specifying any required method arguments. So whatever the code block, whatever in the code block, whatever the statements we have written, when actually those will execute when we call the method. So for a method, we can pass the various values as a arguments. Okay. So in the whatever the block has the various statements, if some values, if you want to pass to that block to use in the statements for any process, calculations or anything, so you can pass values through the arguments. Okay. So if you see the declaring the methods, okay, how we can declare the methods. So for that, the method signature we need to understand. Okay. So methods are declared in a class by specifying an optional access level such as public, private. We know the access modifiers. So it is optional. We can start first with the access level modifiers as a optional. If you not specify any access modifier, then the default it will be a private. Okay. Then next is another optional modifiers such as abstract or sealed. Okay, we will discuss more details about abstract and sealed optional modifier. Next, the return value or void if the method has no return value. So return value in the sense, whatever the method you call, so the code block will be executed. From the method, if you want to get any value, any one value, if you want to get from the method, then you can specify the return value data type. What return value you are going to get, for that return value, what data type it's that you are going to specify. Okay, if no return values, suppose the method is not going to return any value, then you need to specify void. So void indicates, so method is not going to return any value. Just the code block will be executed. That's all. It's not going to return any value. So that is about the return value. The next one is the method name. The method name in the sense it is an identifier for the method, because for every we should have an identifier so that we can call when you are calling the method. So with that identifier name you can call the method. So that is about the method name. Okay. Next one, any method parameters. Suppose if we are passing some values to the method, okay, then you can specify that parameters. Okay, so how you can specify method parameters are enclosed in parentheses and are separated by commas. So if you are specifying multiple parameters for a method, then you can specify by separating the commas. Suppose if there are no parameters, then just empty parentheses. That indicates the method requires no parameters. Okay, that is about the method parameter. So all these like access modifiers and optional modifiers, return value, method name, the method parameters, all these collectively together parts the form of the method signature. It's like whenever you are declaring a method or whenever writing a method, how the signature specifies. Okay, so this is about the thing. So we will go to the examples. The one method if you look at this method, see, this is the access modifier, whatever we specified to give as a to give access level, the private. So as I mentioned, if you omit that private, it will take it as a, if you are not writing any access modifier, then default it takes as a private. Even you can write private also. If you are going to provide a access level private, you can omit or you can write. If you want to provide a access level public, then you need to write a public. So like that. So this is the example of the private method with two parameters and returning a value of the int data type. So see, private I have written, and then data type, return type. Optional modifiers, this I'm not using here in these examples. We will discuss later on about those. And then as it is optional in the sense, you can write or you can omit. Then after the return type, method name. So here I am giving calculate sum as my method name. And then in the parenthesis, I am specifying two parameters. The parameters, when you are specifying, you need to give the data type also. Why? Because whatever the values, you want to define clearly what type of data it's going to hold. So here I taken a two parameters, both int data type. Okay, so int x comma int y, and then within the braces you can write all your statements. So this is the way how we can write the method. Okay, this is the example for private method with two parameters and return value of int data type. Now second example, if you look at here, the public method with one parameter and it's not going to return any value. So if it is not going to return any value, we are going to specify void. So this is the example, and it takes only a one parameter int data type sum val, and method name is write sum value. So this is similar way if you go for a multiple examples. Okay, so here this is like a private method with no parameters and no return value. So you can write like this. So here, as it is a private, I didn't mention here, as it's optionally default, it will take as a private, so that I didn't mention. So that way, to understand the example, I just provided here without specifying the private. So, and the void, no return value, and the method name is sample method one. So similar way, you can very well understand it is a return type of string, sample method too. So no parameters. Okay, no, it's just a string return type. Okay, so this is about, and also we have a one more option in a parameters. If you see, we have default parameter. So whatever the parameters you are going to take, you can specify even as a default. Okay, a default in the sense, example, this is, see, earlier parameters, example, if you see data type and variable name. Okay, parameter name. If you want to specify some default value while you are defining a method, you can just use a equal and you can assign a value. So this is the way example. So what it does, if you pass the value, it will take that value. If you don't pass any value for a language name, then it takes C#. So that is the advantage of the default parameter values. So you can specify for any data type default values. Even for multiple parameters also, you can specify default values. So this is about the methods and all the method parameters. If you see, so this program is a class and this main is the method and it returns a void data type. And this is the arg parameter. Args is a string array. It's nothing but a collection of strings we can pass as a argument. So that is about the, and this is the method. Currently it is a empty. So we can write any statement. So for how we have written some samples. So that way inside the main method we have written. But we will see now how we can write our own methods. So even you can write, example, if you are going to use the same class, program class, you can write here. This is the main is a one method. Even you can write multiple methods. Even if you want to make it as a separate class, even we can go and we can add, like here, we can add, right click, sorry, right click and then add and then class. Okay, just I can put it as a practice. I can make it one class. So I am going to make it class name practice. Sorry, it's a file name. This is nothing but the class file name. I am making a practice.cs. The default will take it as a CS extension for a class files. See, now the file is created with, if you see the default namespace, it's taken console app1. It's nothing but default. It will take our project name, but you can change even different namespace, and default, whatever the file name we have given, default it takes the class name also same name. You can make it even different if you want. You can make it different class name, file name. But usually for a one class, if you are defining in a one file, the file name and class name will be usually same. If there is a collection of classes, it's like a one file, you can have a multiple classes. In that case, the file name usually will keep it as a generic name. It's like a collection name. We will keep it. Okay. We will go with the multiple examples. We can do all that kind of examples. We will see. So currently I am going to take it as a class practice. And then I will just define with the public and then int and whatever we discuss, like calculate sum, and in parameters I will take int x comma int y. Okay, and then the braces open, automatically close will come. So inside we are going to write now values. See, as soon as I put a braces, the calculate sum showing as a red underline markings, if you see there, because it has a return value, we are not at returning any value, so that it's giving the thing. So why? Because when you specify a return type, you should return a value. So how you can write? You can write a multiple lines, and at the end or anywhere, like a conditional, if you put also, there should be a return statement. That is the most important. To return a value, how we can do? You are going to use a keyword return and then space. We want to sum it. We will use simple x plus y semicolon. So it calculates, it adds x and y value, and then it returns. So this is a simple method. It's not like a method will have only one or two lines, but as a complex, when we are going to a real projects, when you go, there will be a complex, multiple lines will be there. It's nothing but you are going to write all the lines, and wherever you want to return, accordingly you are going to return. As an example for you guys, for a better understanding, I am taking a very simple basic examples to understand the concepts first. So once if you understand the concept, then we can go for a whatever the complex examples. It is easy, and even you can explore yourself and you can write a complex once if you understand very well about the concepts and language. Okay, so this is the one method what we have written, and we will write one more method, public, and that void, like we are not going to return any value, and write some value. So we are going to take only one parameter, same int type, and just I will name it as a variable somewhere. Okay, and then in this method, what I am going to do it, I am going to just write the method name. Usually the method names also, whatever the names you are going to put, the names you are going to write a meaningful. Okay, so that the meaningful of the functionality, what it is going to happen inside the method. Okay, so I am going to take a write line method. I am going to use it, and then I will just write the value whatever we receiving as a parameter. Using that, I am going to write a value. Sum is just, I will use the just this variable in this way somewhere. Okay, so this is the another method. Okay, even we discussed about the default thing, right? I will write that method also all together so that we will see how we can call the all these methods and how we can see. So public void language name, and then parameter I'm going to take as a string data type and language name. And default I'm going to assign C#. Then within the braces, even here I'm going to write so console.writeLine. I will just write the output to the screen, whatever the language. Okay, language equal to, in this variable, I will use the whatever the parameter variable language name. Okay, so like this, we can write the methods. Fine. So we have written the methods and I am saving the file. So this is the class how we can write, and inside the class how we are writing the member methods. Okay, three members methods I have written. Okay, fine. Now how we can call these methods? Okay, we will check that. So as why I am coming to a program.cs, nothing but in a class program, the reason is, so for the console application, so this is the starting point where when you execute the application, where it starts. So this is the starting point. So for that reason, we can write in a project, we can write multiple files, but the starting point where the program executes, it starts from here. If you don't write here anything, if you execute this application, nothing will be done. Why? Because no code is there, just it will come out. Okay, so now by using this practice class, how we can call these methods, we will just examine. So we discussed earlier how we can create object for the class. Yeah, we will do that. So practice is our class name. Okay, and I will just name it as a variable POBJ, and then I am going to create an object. So new practice. Okay, so I created a object. Now I will just as the value is returning. So first I will calculate sum and I will take that values as a sum method will be returning. So I am trying to check first with this method. So calculate sum. So this method, it takes two parameters and it return a value, right? So I want to store that value. So I am going to define one variable in this method of the program class. Okay. So int sumVal equal to, I am going to call that method so that the method it returns a value, that value I am going to store here. So how we are going to call that method? The method is a member of the object. So POBJ dot, when I put it, see, I got that method. All the methods showing calculate sum, write language name, write sum value. Why all three is showing? Because I have specified for all three public. If I specify private, then it won't show. We discussed about that earlier. Okay, see now P object and then calculate sum, and then it's needed two arguments. We need to pass arguments for that parameters to hold the values. So I am just as an example, I am going to give example 10 comma 20. Okay, so and then semicolon. So this way we can call a method. See, here is the declaring the methods and here calling the method. So we are calling by passing the two values 10, 20. So it calculates and it returns a value that will be stored in this. Okay. So just I will write that on the screen. So for that also I have one defined already method, right? So I will use that, write some value so that it's not going to return any value. Why? Because in a functionality, if you see, I don't want to return anything. I am just going to write on the screen. So here I need to pass a value. What value I want to write on the screen. So whatever the sum, that variable I will use it. So I will just pass this and I will use it. So now if I execute this, let's see. See, now you can understand. See what it is showing output, sum is 30 because the calculate sum, we are passing 10 comma 20. So inside that method, it calculated 10 plus 20. So that value is returned to the SUMVAL variable and that variable holds that 30 value. That value we are passing to the write sum value method as a argument. So the parameter sum value will take there and it will write on the screen. Sum is 30. That is what we mentioned here. Sum is variable. So that variable value substituted. So sum is 30. So this is the output what we are getting. See, so this is the example for the how we can write the methods in a class and how we can call those methods in our programming. So this is about, even let we examine about we'll check about the default, how that works. Yeah, we already used, right, one. So same object, I am going to use it and then I am going to use write language. I don't pass any parameter. What will happen? We will see. See, just I have written write language name. Even though it takes one parameter, but I am not specifying the any value to that parameter. Okay. How it is allowing, the reason is that we specified as a default. We have assigned some default value so that it is optional. This is the important example here. If you don't pass, if you remove this, you will get error. Okay. See here, there is no argument given that correspond to the required formal parameter. So it's showing here clearly. Okay. I am doing undo. But here it's not showing anything because we specified that as a default. Even here also, if you put cursor in IntelliSense, it will show language name default. It takes as a C#. See, we will execute this and we will see what happens. See now, same previous sum is 30, it's showing, and then language equal to C#. See what happening, language equal to language name. So that we didn't pass anything, so that C# it printing on the screen. Okay, let me pass some value. As another example, I will just take this and another example. Here, I will just give example Java. Okay, you know very well that the string we need to put inside the double quotes. So Java, and then if I execute this now, see the default one shows C# and now it shows Java. So this is about the methods and with parameters and with the default. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to our channel for more videos.